incredibly daunting. There's just so much going on. So today, we're going to decode that overwhelming funding environment and really transform it into a clear, actionable strategic playbook. We're stepping away from all the chaos and building a direct, logical path to help you scale your vision. To do that, here is our roadmap. We'll start by tackling the wall of noise, then define the actual startup tools at your disposal. After that, we'll build your decision-making framework, navigate the unique 2026 landscape, unpack the founder's strategic playbook, and finally, wrap up with your immediate action plan. So let's kick things off with Section 1, the wall of noise. Before we even think about building a strategy, we need to validate exactly how you're probably feeling right now, trying to get your company off the ground. It's just a wall of noise. I mean, when you're constantly hearing about accelerators, incubators, government grants, angel networks, and venture studios, it usually leaves founders feeling completely blasted. It's honestly the default feeling in the startup world today. So if you feel like you're just staring at endless disconnected options without a map, hearing about accelerators, incubators, government grants, angel networks, and venture studios in that confusion, our whole goal in this explainer is to cut straight through that noise and replace it with a focused, highly effective strategy. Success today means knowing exactly how to pick the right resource for the specific stage your company is at, and more importantly, understanding how to actually leverage it for tangible growth.
Moving right along to Section 2,
defining the startup tools.
Before you choose a path,
you absolutely must understand what the vehicles actually are. Let's look at the classic difference between an accelerator and an incubator. Think of an accelerator as a fast-paced boot camp. It's usually 3 or 4 months designed purely for speed and scaling an idea that already exists, usually ending in a big pitch day. On the flip side, an incubator is a much slower, more open-ended environment. It's really focused on hatching an idea from scratch. They serve entirely different stages of your startup's lifecycle. The crucial thing here is understanding the distinct trade-offs of each tool. Accelerators give you seed capital and a great network, but they're going to demand around 3 to 8% of your equity. Incubators might just charge you fees without taking a slice of your company. Venture studios, they'll actually embed their own engineers and marketers right into your team, but in exchange, they're taking a much larger equity stake. And then, of course, you have grants. These are the magic words. Non-dilutive funding. You get the capital to support your R&D, and you keep 100% of your ownership. Knowing exactly what you're sacrificing for growth is the absolute foundation of your strategy. But hey, never underestimate the human element in all of this. Did you know mentored founders actually achieve 3 times better outcomes? It's wild. Investor networks and accelerators provide what we call smart capital. It's not just a check, it's their expert advice, their massive Rolodex of connections, and their credibility transferring directly to you. Honestly, this is often the most valuable part of the entire exchange.
On to Section 3.
All right, on to Section 3, the decision-making framework.
I want you to actively
play along with this thought experiment right now. Think about your startup today. What is your single undeniable need? Is it just raw cash to keep the lights on and survive? Is it expert guidance because you're totally stuck on product development? Or is it the network you need to reach those crucial first major customers? You really have to identify that one critical bottleneck. Because your answer dictates your path entirely. This is the priority matrix. Every single day, you are weighing capital, network, and mentorship against your willingness to part with your equity. If expert guidance is your absolute top priority, then trading a little equity for a top-tier accelerator makes total sense. But if you fiercely need to protect your equity and simply need cash to fund some heavy research, well, you should be hunting exclusively for non-dilutive government grants. Your number one need dictates the tool. And remember, scratch that. It's crucial to remember. This answer might completely change in 6 months. That brings us to Section 4, navigating the 2026 landscape. 60%. Let that sink in. A staggering 60% of Y Combinator companies this year are expected to be AI-focused. This single statistic is a massive flashing sign showing exactly where the gravity of the market is pulling right now. We are seeing these major specialized accelerators popping up exclusively to fund and support AI companies.
What does this mean for you?
So What does this mean for you? Well, because the generalist programs are leaning so heavily into AI, you must be incredibly targeted. If you're an AI founder, you're looking at places like Excel and Google Adams. But if you aren't building the next big AI model, you need vertical-specific programs. If you're in health, look at Halcyon. If you're specifically in mental health, look at SeedSpot. You have to find those niche programs that are explicitly searching for your exact type of solution.
Okay, let's level up with
Section 5, the Founder's Strategic Playbook.
This is where it gets really fun.
It's fascinating how we can elevate those foundational choices into pro-level advanced tactics. You can dramatically extend your runway using what we call the stacking strategy. Basically, you don't just pick one route. You pair an equity-based accelerator, which gets you the network and that vital seed money, with massive, non-dilutive resources. For example, imagine securing $150,000 in Azure and OpenAI credits from Microsoft, and then stacking that with $200,000 in cloud credits from Google. You're literally stacking these resources to artificially inflate your runway without giving up a single extra percentage of your company. It's brilliant. And that brings us to an incredible pro move, all about timing. If you time your VC pitch right after announcing a major grant win, let's say something like the Braze Tech for an Equitable Future grant, you are leveraging that external stamp of approval. Think about it. A major grant tells venture capitalists that a serious, rigorous organization has already vetted your idea and put money behind it. You walk into that pitch room with massive leverage to negotiate a vastly superior valuation.
Now, we've got to talk about the traps
where this playbook can go completely wrong. Fatal flaw number one. Chasing the brand name. Please beware of chasing a shiny logo just to slap it on your startup's website. You have to verify if the program actually offers structural support for your specific industry. We see founders get in, give up a chunk of equity, and then just suffer through incredibly generic mentorship and terrible post-program support. Don't let vanity drive your strategy. And then there is fatal flaw number two, the grant timeline trap. Look, government and foundational money moves at a snail's pace. It just does. Don't let slow grant payouts kill your startup because the cash finally arrives 3 months after you've emptied your bank account. The solution here is to build a blended capital stack. Mix in venture debt or revenue-based financing to bridge that cash gap and keep the lights on while you wait. Simply hoping the check arrives in time is not a funding strategy. A blended capital stack is.
Let's bring it all
home with Section 6, your immediate action plan.
Let's wrap up this explainer by giving you some hyper-specific marching orders.
I really want you to follow these 3 precise steps to stop endlessly reading blog posts and start taking strategic control of your future. Step 1. Open a doc and be brutally honest with yourself. Write down your number one undeniable need for the next quarter. Step 2. Based entirely on that need, create a custom shortlist of just 3 to 5 laser-focused programs. And Step 3, reach out to an alumnus. And I'm telling you, Step 3 is literally the ultimate cheat code. Reach out
to hear about their actual experience. Send a quick DM. Ask for just 15 minutes of their time. This is exactly how you bypass the polished marketing copy and get the absolute unvarnished truth. Ask them bluntly, did the program actually help you raise your next round? Was the mentorship real or was it just fluff? So, I want to leave you with this final critical thought. Which specific tool are you going to leverage today to cut through the noise and scale your vision? Armed with this matrix and this playbook, what is the single most important move you will make right now to transform your startup's trajectory? Don't let the ecosystem overwhelm you. Choose your tool, make your move, and go build something amazing.
Welcome to Startup Founder Best Practices. Glad to be here this Thursday night. Got a great lineup for tonight. We have a guest, which I recorded him earlier today. He teaches cybersecurity on Thursday nights, but we wanted to get his information on and make it available to you all, especially all you all out there that's doing the vibe coding. And so it's about AI governance, and so that should be a pretty good topic. Another thing I wanted to do tonight, I guess a week or two ago, Tony Brown, the Tony Brown Journal passed away, and I wanted to do a little tribute to him because, you know, I'm an engineer by trade, and I got a chance to meet him back in the early 90s, and he changed my whole relationship with technology, and kind of inspired me on how to leverage technology. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that after we get through showing the video for our guests. But it's amazing to me that back in the early 90s, like 92, 93, that a guy like Tony Brown could know so much about technology and how to leverage it. So I just wanted to definitely be able to pay a little tribute to him, to give some respect for the foundation he laid and for us, and the blueprint, for us to kind of move forward economically. So let's get started here. So we are approaching our 6-year anniversary is coming up about a month from now. So we've been on here. We only missed one event in 6 years, and I've lost track. We're probably around close to 250 events, and so it's a really honor to be here to share some of the best practices for building a startup, and it's for everybody. It's like if you got an idea, or if you like I showed last week, if you work at a company or you got some specific knowledge, and how got an idea how to solve a problem, you can become a founder and get the help you need to go forward. And so Josiah here, he's a pretty interesting guy. I met him a couple of years ago, and he also spoke at our first Black Founders Innovation Summit. But he's really a technical guy, and he has about 13 inventions, and so sometimes it's a little challenging to get these technical guys to kind of break it down a little bit. And so hopefully I did a good job this morning on kind of getting him to explain stuff in layman terms. But it's a really important topic. And by the way, I missed our networking tonight, because I was at a live networking event, which just happened to be about governance as well. So it was pretty informative. But it's definitely some good information that founders and small business owners need to know. So here you got a guy that's got a couple of decades of experience in cybersecurity. He's really knowledgeable, and so he's same thing what I just said about last week. He took his life experience, working in cybersecurity, and literally built several applications related to cybersecurity. So he's sharing one of those tonight, and so we look forward to sharing that video. So let's take some time and give a shout out to some of our partners and sponsors, people who partnered with us in the past, and just found out today our Coda got bought by Grammarly, and then all of a sudden now today I logged into Coda and it's superhuman. So I can't wait to experiment with that some. So I have to double check and see if our partnership still exists, but it's supposed to be now you don't have to know about formulas. You don't have to know about a bunch of stuff. You just tell the AI what you want it to do. So it's a pretty neat thing. That's progress. All of these applications are just speeding up and moving fast. Yeah, and also want to give a shout out to some of these are financial sponsors and partners as well. So they do the livelihood that kind of help us move forward. So we definitely appreciate them. So when you get involved with us here at the Kukui Institute, you can just go to apply.kukuiinstitute.org fill out the form, and we share our resources with you to kind of help you move forward. But yeah, no matter which type of business you're in, nonprofit, whatever, business modeling, that's what we do with the lean stack. It's startup science, that's like an ecosystem in a box. And so we give you access to that, and it's got all the grant stuff you need in there, discount software, free software. It's got the works, and that's what I learned from Tony Brown is that you have to leverage technology. And so all of these things are literally leveraging technology to help you move your startup forward. So that's a pretty neat thing. And so I play a little video at the beginning, and that video is trying to explain the startup ecosystem and how it works. I was at an event yesterday, 1 Million Cups, and the gentleman was working hard building his startup, but he said he didn't have time to leverage the ecosystem. So I don't understand when my involvement in the ecosystem, I always just worked on my business, my startup, and it's what. So it was. I don't understand when somebody says they don't have time to leverage resources to help them do what they're trying to do. And so that video I showed at the beginning, it's all about, and the reason why we do this, there are opportunities out there, there are programs out there to help you financially, mentorship, discounted software, free software, you name it. But if you don't know how to communicate with the ecosystem, you can't get access to those resources. And so that's what we try to do, is help you understand how to communicate with those organizations that provide the resources to help you go from an idea to an exit. And so what I learned in my journey is that it doesn't matter which stage you're at. Don't even have to, in some cases, don't even have to have formed your business. And also, it doesn't matter if you're making millions of dollars. There are organizations that will help you scale to hundreds of millions of dollars. So it's just, I can't make it any plainer than that. If you start working on a scalable idea, you can take advantage of these resources. And it doesn't require you to be an engineer. It doesn't require you to be a techie. It just requires you to know of a big problem that needs to be solved, and that's can support help a lot of organization, people, or whatever to move forward. That's the opportunity, and take advantage of it. So yeah, so I won't go into details on all the stuff on the startup stuff, but the bottom line, I think all I'm saying is that these resources are out there. And so go back to Tony Brown. So let me tell you a story. So he was visiting Eglin Air Force Base, and I think this was around 92, 93. And so we were doing networking events back then on that Eglin Air Force Base over at the NCO Club. I think it was something like the third Wednesday. I don't even remember which date it was. It's been so long ago. But anyway, he was speaking I think at the local community college or something, and the folks who brought him down, invited him over to our networking event. And so he showed up, and so he was sitting down, listening to what all the organizations were announcing, what they were doing, and blah, 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 blah. And then so I asked him, I said, to give us some advice on what we could do to kind of move forward. And he said, this looks like a kind of like a charity event. And I said, wow, and he said that if you really want to help people move forward, you have to, work on the economics. If you get on the economics first, then you can actually move forward. And it was a lot of things that happened at that event. He recommended the book that was out at the time, and that I had read the book, so that was pretty neat. I can't remember which one it was. It may have been Success Runs in Our Race or something like that. But it was a pretty neat book. And then he said, which struck me and in a really deep way. He said, if you're trying to do something and it seems like it's too hard to do, you're trying to do something big or great. He said, and it seems like you're not making the progress you want to make. He said, you're not leveraging technology enough. And I said, well, I'm an engineer. I know about technology. and so the next day I went to work, and this particular time I was involved in an organization called Blacks in Technology, not Blacks, but Blacks in Government. And so we had this initiative called Community Organizations Network and Connet. So we were, me, another gentleman, and my children, we were sending out this newsletter, and so which we had to, type up or whatever. Then we had to go make copies, and so my friend Danny, he was printing stuff out at first, and then I got the reverend at the church to let us use the copy machine there. And then my kids would be folding up they're all the dust now, but they would be folding up the envelopes and stuffing them. And I said, man, this is rough. And then we would, take them to the post office, mail them off. So the next day when I got to work, I created an email list. All those folks we were mailing those newsletters to, I created an electronic version of the newsletter, and I this news email list, and this is 1992, 1993, and so we were sending out these emails on a monthly basis to all the organizations in the community and the folks that actually work there on the base. And so that's leveraging technology. So I retired in 2012, and that's what 20 years later, and that email list was still going on, and I don't know if it's still going now, but it impacted me. I started doing seminars about leveraging technology, and believe it or not, that's what I still do today. Try to leverage technology and leverage any kind of resources to kind of move forward. So that's the impact that Tony Brown had on my life and my experience. And so I actually haven't stopped, since. So I'll treat you all with a video that tells a little bit about his story and the impact he had on Black Americans and in our society. So first, I'm going to go ahead here and share my screen. Let me get to stay up here, but I'm really excited about and I just want to acknowledge and celebrate his life. So this is going to be a conversation with Josiah and I from this morning. And like I said, he's busy. He has a nonprofit called Each One Teach One, where he trains people hands-on in cybersecurity. They get the hands-on security operations center, and they get the certifications and stuff. So he's been doing this for several years. So, but that's why he's not actually here tonight. But since a lot of vibe coding is going on now, we thought it would be good. And so since he was in the security stuff, so he decided to create a product or a tool that you can actually use to make sure when you're using vibe coding or just coding period, you can build this governance into your application. So I'll go ahead and get this started so we can see what Josiah has to say.
You've been developing technology for quite a while now, huh?
It's quite a while. You are absolutely correct.
Yeah, so get us started with your journey on developing technology. What kind of stuff you've been developing?
I have been working on on-demand keyless end-to-end encryption,
Okay.
which is a core deep tech. To explain it to a layman is simply developing a kind of encryption where in the future, there is the possibility that even a quantum computer would not be able to unravel. That's where it becomes timeless.
Gotcha.
However, for individuals to utilize this kind of technology, they have to feel it, touch it, be in it, submerge themselves in it. So one of the ways to do that is the recent development that we have regarding artificial intelligence. Many people are using assisted development processes, what is normally known as vibe coding.
Yes.
So in AI-assisted software development, the question is how secure it is. Just a lot of talk about security, but then the governance is lacking and someone have to come up and be the grown-up in the room. So when these talks are being had, nobody's looking at having the assisted software development or vibe coding as a part of secure software development, like to bring it into the secure software development pipeline.
Good.
Yeah, as it relates to vibe coding. So I think there's a lot of potential in that space. Vibe coding is for people to move fast enough, to ship fast enough.
Yes.
But it's not really considering safety with respect to security, privacy, and all of that. They want to ship fast enough, and then they don't care about nothing else, just ship fast enough. But what we're bringing to the table is the ability to ship fast enough, safe enough, and have an enterprise-grade software at the same time.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, so that's where we're coming from. So to achieve that, we had a conversation with individuals that are in the space, and consistently the answer is still the same. How do you vibe code? Oh yeah, I just come to my computer and I interact with the AI agent, and I use the AI agent and I tell them what to do. It responds back to me. Consistently, everybody's saying the same thing. So what that tells me is that's just honor-based.
Yeah.
It's just an honor-based system. So I'm thinking if the AI hallucinates or if the AI does something funny, how do you catch that? And if the AI decides to wipe your hard drive and everything like that, how do you catch that? So what comes to mind is having an AI development governance.
Okay.
So if you have an AI development governance, it allows you to stipulate the condition of working with the AI. You can have all your policies in it or whatever, knowledge base, all of that. As a part of the governance, you have the strategy as well as the executional aspect of the strategy.
Gotcha.
You have risk in the middle, informing the standards as well as every other framework you might have, even control sets. You can have all of that. But now, when you have that on an honor basis, the purpose is defeated still. So how do you
saying honor, like you just trust in the system?
You just trust through the system. There's no practical or logical way of making sure that the system will do what then will continue to respect, not to do what they are not supposed to do.
Gotcha.
That doesn't exist. So that's what brings the human verification requirement.
Okay.
There had to be a human verification requirement. How do humans interface with machines? Of course, in the middle, there had to be some kind of trust developed relationship. So how do we make sure that we can trust a piece of code?
Okay.
It's difficult.
Yes.
So what we have to come up with is a way to go down to the machine level in the shell where the code is written and make sure that each time a line of code is written, there had to be some kind of request and approval. For a code to be written, there had to be request and approval, or you can have a call sign to address that.
Okay.
So that's how you establish that. And now you have to build what we call AI trust gate. So you have a flow of how you go through approval,
okay,
request, approval, granted the process, and looking over the CI/CD part of it, deployment, and then publishing what you have already got.
Okay.
So there had to be a process where to get to the next step, you have to do something on a compute level.
Okay.
On the shell, you have to do something on a compute level to get to the next step. So that's how you continue to do that to the end. And all this process that I mentioned has to be auditable.
Auditable. Okay.
If they're not auditable, it's a waste of time.
Okay. Gotcha.
So there are two specific things that we have to have in mind. Establish a trust relationship that's logical and practical, where it boils down to request and approval system being established, whereby if AI wants to do something, they don't have any requests. No one gave them an approval. They're going to wait right there until they get an initialization, or what I call a call sign. If they don't get the initialization, they're not going to do nothing. They're going to be, okay. Even the developer himself or any engineer can tell AI to do certain things. The AI would say, no, I'm not going to do it because you gave me a human verification requirement, as well as the development governance. In the development governance, you said not to do this. You said not to do this. So that simply means you can tell AI you cannot kill someone. If it's an AI using weapons, or if an AI using the medical space, or health or whatever, you can say you cannot kill someone under any circumstances. If you see a situation where somebody's gonna die, shut down. So these are the things we are bringing into the space, and they already shipped. They're in the production.
Okay.
And people can test it.
Okay.
And see for themselves how it works. So there's a GitHub repository where we put some of the information for those that want to test it out and use the shell script.
Okay.
To see how it works.
Alrighty. So what's the kind of user flow? So I'm coming up to Replit or something, and I may have a CRD, or I may just start vibe coding. So where does this product come in?
So what I recommend everyone do is, first of all, you got to know what you want to build. First of all, you have to have a wireframe or some kind of a procedure on what you want to build. First of all, once you know what you want to build, you want to go into Replit or anyone that you use and give them the script to run. You say, hey, before I start working with you, I want to establish how I want to work with you.
Okay.
I want to establish how I initiate an interaction with you, and as well as problem resolution protocol if there's a situation. So in other words, you are giving them a whole new framework.
Okay.
So you have to share a knowledge base with it,
Okay.
or any procedure that you have with it. Okay?
Okay.
Then you start giving them the script to run. So when you start running the script, you have whatever call sign you have, it has to be gated. There has to be a call sign gate. There has to be a work gate. There has to be a staging gate, approval gate, request gate. There have to be a full blown workflow.
Okay.
That gets the developer or the vibe coder from the beginning to the end of publishing whatever they have developed.
Gotcha. So when you use the term call sign, are you referring to how the AI is talking back and forth with you, or what do you mean by that?
When I say call sign, it means that's the call that I give to the AI, that AI knows it's me and it start working with me.
Okay. Okay. So that's like the relationship to, okay. And so I'm trying to figure out, because like, for example, like I interact with the AI and it knows my name or whatever. So what's the difference between the language model, something recognizing me, and this call sign thing?
So the call sign process also could have identity inside of it. A lot of people are not aware of it.
Okay.
So you can do all your calls and all you want, but if you're not the person in that Replit account, say
I got you. Yeah.
someone is trying to interact with the code, but they're not the person that did the process for that code to be published. That's an identity inside that. So you're gonna have to break the glass or hack into it to bypass that.
So that's another layer of security. Whereas if a hacker tried to get in, they can't necessarily prove their identity, their call sign or whatever.
Exactly. So if a hacker gets into your system or into your environment and they want to change code or do stuff in your environment, they will fail in principle because they don't have that identity.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. Say, for instance, I have 5 employees and I happen to be the one that modified the code and published the latest version of it.
Yeah.
And then one of the employees get into it to do something with the same code that I've already published.
Okay.
Let's say, for instance, they want to go back, do a change request to change something in that code. It's not going to work.
Okay.
It's not going to work. So they're going to fail the principle.
Okay. So I definitely understand now. I never thought about having to approve your identity in order to interact with the vibe coding tool because you log in and you think that's it. So you're saying it's an additional layer of security in addition to logging in. So that's what I'm thinking.
So I'm saying on top of the security that the organizations like Cursor, Replit, Cloud, and all of that, on top of the security that they have, there's another one that you can establish for yourself, which allows you to have and ship better code that are enterprise grade.
Yeah. You're good now. Yeah. So that's really neat. And so you interact and you vibe coding in your framework or system that has been installed. Now you're interacting with it, and this framework is providing additional layer of identity, but it sounds like it's making the code more secure. So how does it make the code more secure?
So it makes the code more secure because you can't touch any file without verifying that there's a backup already. So all the pre-deployment scans, you cannot override them.
Okay.
So that means you can't just push something that is not up to par, that doesn't pass, and it's up to the assurance level that's required for it. And AI cannot approve something that you're building. Is you that have to approve it. Okay. And if there's any violation, there's consequences for those violations. That's what we're talking about. And it improves your code because you've already told AI the level and quality of code that you want.
Okay. So your framework, so your framework includes that quality of code level and quality.
Yeah. For instance, you tell them, I want to maintain a consistent input validation. I want to maintain a consistent authentication process and mechanisms. So I want to make sure that my code doesn't have secrets all over the place.
Okay.
Because you can use this for CI/CD as well. You push it to code versioning solution like GitHub and etc. and the rest of them. So you have a call sign gate.
Okay.
You have initially the initial gate to tell them to work. You have to have established that call sign. This unlocks the process.
Yes.
You have different files that contains your governance processes. You can keep adding it keeps adding to them, and the AI knows that.
Yes.
Okay. So you have your baseline, security baseline that you want it to have, or benchmarks that you want it to attain, and all of that. You have all of that in there. Okay. You have an analysis gate where if there's a problem, you analyze it and solve it, then you tell them to document it. You are using a solution roadmap like threat and security when you're developing stuff, all that kind of stuff is inbuilt. You have your approval gate, you have backup gates, you have implementation. The process is well done. You have a review gate, you have delivery gates.
Wow.
All of that built up. Documentation, everything is documented, and the process is very clear.
Yeah.
You make your call sign, you have a script that's doing it. Gate status locked, you unlock it, you make the call sign, it unlocks. That means you can start writing on the shell.
Okay.
Then you move to the next phase. It will check all the tiers that you have: governance, technical reference, session history, security baseline, all of that checked. So you move on to the process and continue with the work date. For you to do work, you have to do another gated process again, and so on and so forth. You make it auditable. You have a measurement. You have a rubric for measuring. If you're using identity, you have a rubric for measuring to make sure that there's no problem in the identity and it's not spoofed and someone didn't do anything against that. So we have a positional risk score module, positional risk score module that we use for our own system.
Yes.
But other people can develop a system to allow them to monitor and validate the identity.
Okay. So like
as they work.
So is your tool or software, is it acting like an AI agent, or is just based on your years of experience on how to secure software?
So the tool that we have right now is basically a framework that has some shells. It has a shell script, which you can build it into an agent. I'm going to build it into an agent, which people can actually buy the agent.
Okay.
And they have the possibility of modifying the agent to fit their own environment.
Oh, wow.
So there are some things that I use in my environment with Lockdot that you might not want to use. So you just scrap it out, put your own in there. So
help people understand your background, your inventions, and your experience in corporate America. How does all that get in? Build into what Lockdown or this particular product has.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me explain myself clearly so everyone will understand with this little background. So I have been in this space for over 25 years. I've done the same thing over and over again, which gives me some kind of specialization in the space. I founded 3 companies. One of them is Lockdown, which is the one that did the research on how humans can interface with AI. And at the same time that we have a secure software development as they do that. And at the same time, they can ship safe and enterprise-grade solutions.
Okay.
Now, I also have a nonprofit called Each One Teach One Tech that allows me and the people I work with to train other people to have the same mindset.
Okay.
And this nonprofit, Each One Teach One Tech, is, of course, a public charity 501c, where we provide the tools and resources needed by the underserved communities to remain gainfully employed in emerging tech like AI and cybersecurity, or IoT and IT as well. These are areas of specialization that we have.
Okay.
In that institution. Now, I also have Cyberlux, which is a healthcare-focused platform.
Okay.
It's basically a healthcare application device security hub. The acronym is HASH, H-A-S-H. So what we do there is we took a different approach from the current cybersecurity today.
Yes.
The current cybersecurity is basically dictate and response.
Yeah.
We realize that with AI in the space, you can build an agent that can always be in the prowl, like a hound dog, looking for anything that don't look right and deal with it. Like it will interact with that in real time. If it's a threat, it will immobilize it right away.
Okay.
So instead of doing dictate and response, what we are building now, our build is AI immune system.
Okay.
That keeps hackers away and responds to threat in real time while maintaining a continuous compliance without the complexity that's needed and without consultants.
Yeah.
So these could be done now because agents are replacing people.
Yes.
But in all these things I'm talking about, I have seen in the industry, corporate America, the biggest challenge where governance is an honor-based. Governance is an honor-based thing when it comes to technology. I've seen it over and over again. It's a historical checkmark. It's a historical checkmark. I've seen it over and over. It doesn't sit well with me.
Okay.
So my thought is, how can we account we have governance. How can individuals working around the governance be accountable?
Okay.
For them to be accountable, we have to measure what they're doing. So numbers are needed to measure what they're doing. Key performance metrics, we've done that, but in technology development, we haven't done it. So I came up with this framework that allows us to measure them, and we can have numbers around it, so we can have a visual for the executives to see where the challenge lies, to see if the developer or the engineer was able to put the controls where it needs to be.
Gotcha.
Did you put the controls? Did you ask all the questions that are needed for this particular domain? Did you go through the validation process? Instead of the check mark, we can actually do this now with AI, where we ask the proper questions and use the proper logic, and also make sure that the AI and people are working together.
Okay.
That the humans are required to verify the work of AI, not the other way around.
Gotcha.
Because you can't be the judge and then you are the executioner. It doesn't make any sense. So that's what we bring it into this space. My background is deeply rooted in cybersecurity. I have over 13 patents. 6 of them are granted in the same space, in the same technology area. And what we are trying to do is to help individuals understand how to keep a job in the tech world. A lot of people are being laid off and fired. Yeah. But if you develop a strong IQ knowledge, right, in the risk area, especially risk around artificial intelligence, you're gonna have a job. You will keep your job, because we are seeing a lot of rise in attack surfaces, attack vectors, threat vectors, quite established in the AI era. We've seen the rise in every day that we don't want to rise as far as breaches concerning organizations, whether big or small.
Gotcha.
And if a lot of people are threatened by the word itself when you say cybersecurity, but you have to understand cybersecurity as a tool that you need. Just like everyone with their phone, we all know that we don't click on any link that we see. We all know if someone calls us and asks us to give them an OTP and fake their way through, trying to tell us, oh, we have a meeting with you, we should know that's not good. We shouldn't do that. We all know that we have to clean our hard drive or storage space on our phones so we can have enough space so we can watch our favorite videos and do our GIF and get all that stuff all across online with whatever app that we're interested in using. When you see these things that you're doing as a part of cybersecurity, then you can fully understand the need for you to rise up and be a part of this whole movement.
Gotcha. So what difference do you think your technology in the vibe coding sense is going to really make for application that actually go into production?
So I think our approach in vibe coding is not only for vibe coders.
Okay.
Enterprises can follow suit and use the framework. And I am doing some work with some organizations that find it valuable.
Okay.
And they are adopting it as fast as they could. Many organizations are adopting something called operations models.
Okay.
With the AI, they are going into operations model, overarching governance systems, finding ways to make governance measurable.
Gotcha.
They're finding ways to measure governance.
Okay.
They're trying to make governance go in every aspect of their organization.
Okay.
And then if you make governance go in every aspect of your organization, you have to measure it so you can see the impact over time.
Gotcha.
So bigger organizations are finding value in what we have done. It allows them to carry all their policies, audit methodology, privacy, security, cloud threat intelligence, vulnerability assessments, all kind of security tests. It allows them to carry the load into their development, software development using AI.
Yeah. So you use the term governance a lot as we've been talking. Explain to person that may be non-technical, and governance is not necessarily technical, is it?
I don't think governance is technical. It's just bunch of rules that guides an organization. You just have they are basically strategic, high level stuff. The executives make all these kind of decisions.
Yeah,
they abstract. When it comes to governance, they're strategic and abstract, and then it has to come to the next level where we would take the abstract idea, or what we call a paradigm shift. Or so maybe an organization can decide, we want to change our security paradigm. We want to now be AI first, virtual first.
Yeah,
but security all the time, shift left approach, security by design. That's abstract. That's strategic.
okay.
So it has to go to people like me so that we can provide them what it looks like, what that looks like. So it goes to architects, engineers, architects like me, architects/engineers who are specialized in the cybersecurity solutions.
Okay.
Then we'll have to show them the outcome. It's like seeing the end from the beginning.
Okay.
Say, oh, this is what it looks like. This is how you do it.
Okay.
And then we pass it on to the next person that we activate the process with and say, hey, this is how we want this to look. Shift left approach. We have built this for you, built that for you, built that for you, built that for you. We want you to take it and run with it. We want you to make it more like aligned to what we have built as a process. And then the activation process, we take it to the foot soldiers below that, the technicians and all of that, support teams and all of that, development teams, they will execute that. So that's when we talk about governance, that's what we're talking about. It is strategic high level.
Okay.
But those strategic high level is what runs the organization.
Yes. Yeah. And so you're saying you're literally implementing this governance in the code that's being developed and the applications.
Yeah, we are implementing the governance in the code that's been developed. So we have the technology part, the privacy part, and so on and so forth that are being implemented. Yes.
Gotcha. All righty. So we can wrap up here. So you have any last minute advice to any founders out there that are developing software as it relates to your product?
My advice is, as the AI age is upon us and we are moving really fast with it, we should also consider security as well as privacy.
Okay.
Whatever you're building, consider the business logic, what you want to hide from the public. And also be sensitive enough and be the grown-up in the room to also consider what is public information, what is private information, what is confidential, all those kind of stuff. Not exposing PII, PHI, electronic health record, and all of that. Abiding by the compliances, making sure that you are in line with whatever your industry requires for compliance.
Yes.
Make sure that you have that in place. Do not look down or neglect all these things, because at the end, it will come back to bite you. If you're not properly secured, if you don't have the proper security for the threats that you see, then you have a serious problem.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fantastic. So where should someone go if they want to try out your tools?
So if they want to try it out, they can go to b2b.lockdog.com. That's the place to enroll. If you enroll for free trial, make sure you go to the principal enroll.
Okay.
New principal enrollment.
Okay.
Faster. And you can specify what you're interested in. Once we get that, we can approve you to test it out. And that's just about it.
Okay. That sounds good. We appreciate you sharing, and we wish you the best of luck with the new product out there. And just look to send some more great things. All righty. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be here with you and talk about this important thing.
Yes.
As always.
Okay. All right. Thanks a million, Josiah. We'll see you soon.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
You've been developing tech.
Hey, all right. That's great. Yeah. So I hope you, that helped and maybe provided some insight for you with the vibe coding stuff. and just security in general. So I like the fact that Josiah is, I guess if you're, I think it's pretty interesting to have a framework to go along with your vibe coding that actually intercedes for you and make sure your code is secure. And so and I think just I've been in cybersecurity, it's like taking it to a whole nother level. And so that's pretty great. So what I do, like let's say I took the transcript. This is one way I use my Lanika system, and feel free to ask any question about what Josiah was talking about. I'll do my best to try to answer them, or we'll make sure that he can maybe help get to the bottom of that. But so this is an example how I use my Lanika system now, as they call it, but I guess it's a personalized Lanika prompt that evolved to engine, and now it's a system. And so I said, please analyze the following transcript with my Lanika system. So and then this is the kind of information you can get, to when you use your personalized Lanika system that knows what you're interested in, it knows what you're trying to build, it knows where you're headed. So it'll go analyze that transcript to see if there's anything in there that might be useful to what the way you use your large language model. So it just I'll just kind of scroll through here a little slow so you can just kind of see this how I use AI to analyze transcripts. So it's got a founder-facing translation, and let's just read it here. It's saying AI can help you build software faster, but speed without guardrails can create security, privacy, compliance, and trust problems. Lockdown is trying to give founders a way to build with AI while helping human, keeping human approval, identity checks, backup security scans, and audit trails in the process. So basically, he's saying his product actually helps with all the auditing. So it's literally a framework that's built in with the software, and so that's pretty neat, I would say. And so the problem is real, category is timely. Josiah has domain depth. The concept is clear. Before and after, weak signals, friction points. Okay, let's see what the friction stuff are. It said message overload, talking about quantum stuff. That's kind of a vibe coding. A lot of this stuff is kind of like overload. Evidence. So one thing my Lanika prompt does, it looks to see what there's actual evidence, and then what the AI is actually inferring from the transcript in this case. So it explains that pretty well. So, and then this is what I love, the blind spots. When you're doing stuff, when you're analyzing something, when you do it, you're always going to miss something, but you can have the AI analyze it, and it makes it clear, what your blind spots may be. So that's a pretty nice feature, to have. So that's one other thing there. So let's see what else this thing analyzed. Okay, so it says Okay, now this is where it gets a little interesting. So my Lanika prompt, it knows where I'm heading, so it starts suggesting things based on what's in the transcript. So it's in reusable operating systems extracted from the transcript. So this is what you'll see when with the Tony Brown video I'll show you in a few minutes. It takes Tony Brown's approach and shows you how it's his the way he thought and what his playbook for back in the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s, how it applies today. So that's so these are yeah. So these are it's just taking all the useful information out of the so and also giving some positioning recommendations, etc. And it's suggesting what the customer segments are for Josiah's lockdown product. And then, so guess what it is? The topic that I use for the social media post and the email newsletter. It automatically generated that for me. Yeah, and so it's since I'm a coach, it tells me some feedback that I can actually give Josiah as well. So, and I actually could create these are some artifacts that I can actually create based on what was said in the transcript. So, and then some takeaways here. So as you see, that's how I use AI to analyze information. And guess what? All these things that the AI is recommending, it literally will go out and build those for me. And so that's the neat thing about it. Okay, now I will show. So like I said, just a reminder. And so pay attention to this particular video I'm going to show. I'm just doing this in honor of Tony Brown. And so and it's kind of hard to believe, for me, I still scratch my head. I say, how can back in 1992, 93, how can this guy know enough about technology, and know how to leverage it to do great things? So I'm still amazed by that to this day. So here we go.
Every generation inherits three specific responsibilities. Preserve what matters, master the defining technology of the era, and leave behind stronger institutions than it inherited. History distinguishes between those who use new tools for temporary convenience and those who use them to build permanent foundations. Artificial intelligence represents the raw material required to construct this institutional capital. It is far more significant than a shortcut for personal productivity. Tony Brown provided the historical model for this transition. He mastered the dominant communication technology of his time to expand economic and educational opportunity. This playbook translates his methods into an operating system for leaders building in the age of AI. Most startups and support organizations are currently limited by a reliance on linear, human-delivered services. In a personality-driven organization, all operations route through a single leader. If that founder vanishes, the institutional memory and the connections between nodes evaporate. Transitioning to the AI era requires a shift toward intelligence compounding, where knowledge is captured and reused systematically. An infrastructure-driven institution remains stable because its knowledge is distributed. The network grows denser and more connected, even when individual members leave. Overcoming.
Let me straighten that out. I apologize for the noise there. Thanks for letting me know. I shared my screen so it would share the audio as well. So let me stop share and then share again without the audio this time. Apologize for that.
Every generation inherits three specific responsibilities: preserve what matters, master the defining technology of the era, and leave behind stronger institutions than it inherited.
History distinguishes between those who use new tools for temporary convenience and those who use them to build permanent foundations. Artificial intelligence represents the raw material required to construct this institutional capital. It is far more significant than a shortcut for personal productivity. Tony Brown provided the historical model for this transition. He mastered the dominant communication technology of his time to expand economic and educational opportunity. This playbook translates his methods into an operating system for leaders building in the age of AI. Most startups and support organizations are currently limited by a reliance on linear, human-delivered services. In a personality-driven organization, all operations route through a single leader. If that founder vanishes, the institutional memory and the connections between nodes evaporate. Transitioning to the AI era requires a shift toward intelligence compounding, where knowledge is captured and reused systematically. An infrastructure-driven institution remains stable because its knowledge is distributed. The network grows denser and more connected, even when individual members leave. Overcoming the limits of linear human effort determines whether an organization survives the transition to an intelligence-based economy. The Tony Brown operating system functions on 5 foundational axioms that govern technological leverage. The first law states that technology amplifies a pre-existing mission. Without a clear directive, AI simply increases the volume of noise. The second law focuses on durability. Algorithms change and platforms disappear, but the value of compounding ownership remains. The third law recognizes that raw information has little intrinsic value. It only provides leverage once it is organized. Organized knowledge becomes the capital that powers economic growth. The fourth and fifth laws prioritize the collective over the individual. Personal influence eventually fades, but infrastructure preserves wisdom for the entire community. These 5 laws provide the structural requirements for engineering an organization that outlives its founder. Executing these laws requires the AI-era founder to adopt a specific micro-level operational cycle. This is the founder evolution loop. To capture knowledge before it evaporates, a founder must cycle through 8 steps: observe, reflect, learn, experiment, measure, adapt, teach, and document. This process metabolizes daily entrepreneurial friction and converts it into structured assets. Founders using this loop build 5 assets in sequence: knowledge, intelligence, systems, institutions, and legacy. Every experiment and customer discovery session is recorded and formalized into standard operating procedures and automated workflows. This loop ensures that the learning from every failure is preserved as a permanent structural asset. Managing 5 distinct asset classes simultaneously requires significantly more operational bandwidth than a human founding team can provide. This level of output requires deploying AI as an autonomous workforce, managing entire intelligence domains independently. These specialized AI teammates fill roles such as Chief Knowledge Officer, Chief Research Officer, and Chief Community Intelligence Officer. These agents continuously map community talent and secure growth opportunities without the fatigue or inconsistency of human-only teams. This specialized AI workforce allows a small founding team to maintain the same intelligence output as an enterprise-scale institution. Expanding the scope from the founder reveals how entrepreneur support organizations, or ESOs, must also evolve. The 5-level maturity model provides a roadmap for this organizational transition. Most start as training and mentoring organizations, but they most reach Step 3 to function as true innovation-focused entities. Level 5 represents the final transition into an adaptive community operating system. At this stage, the organization no longer delivers basic services. It maintains a living intelligence network for the entire region. This network integrates 6 intelligence layers: historical, founder, workforce, opportunity, ecosystem, and community intelligence. Ultimately, reaching level 5 transforms a simple local incubator into a massive, self-sustaining economic engine, driving regional prosperity. The laws of leverage and the founder loop are unified in a single mechanism called the Kukua model. The continuum begins with history, distilled into the knowledge and education used by the current generation. This builds the skills that ignite innovation and drive entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurial economics then crystallize into lasting institutions that serve the community, connecting back to form future history.
This cycle demonstrates how the intelligence gathered today becomes the preserved wisdom for the next generation. These frameworks require immediate, practical application to produce results. Founders should begin with a self-assessment to identify their current operational blind spots. Implementation roadmaps covering 30, 90, and 365 days then provide the discipline required for execution. While individual companies must be profitable, the long-term objective of this work is the creation of a lasting knowledge infrastructure. This permanent infrastructure becomes the essential foundational asset that all future generations will inherit and build upon. The AI Era Institution is a structural reality currently being built by those who master the technology.
Cool, cool, cool. I'm going to go ahead and that video was based on an announcement of it. I'm sorry about that. Let me get this away here. Let's start it over. Sorry about that. Let me get the audio back on there. Excuse me a second. Stop sharing. I hate when we have all these different modes you have to go in, but we'll get it straight here. Let's see here. Okay, here comes the volume. Let's see.
And reaching millions of viewers every single week for 40 years. And doing it way before the internet or social media were even a glimmer in anyone's eye. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're decoding the Kukua Institute's deep research report on a true media legend, Tony Brown. You know, we're looking at a guy who didn't just host a TV show. He basically rewired how a community could use the dominant technology of his time to gain real structural, political, and economic power. So here's a question for you. How on earth does a 1968 public television show give us the exact blueprint for the AI era? I mean, on the surface, 1960s broadcast TV and today's artificial intelligence seem like they're from totally different planets, right? But are they? As we're going to see from the Kukua Institute's analysis, the underlying logic, like who actually controls the narrative and how they use tech as leverage, it's incredibly consistent across both eras. To unpack this, we'll hit 5 key areas today: media, technology, and power, pioneering Black public television, economics as civil rights, applying the playbook to AI, and finally, building the legacy responsibly. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, Media, Technology, and Power, the anchor. Take a look at this quote. It gets right to the heart of why alternative media infrastructure was so desperately needed back in the 60s. After the massive urban uprisings across the U.S., President Lyndon B. Johnson set up the Kerner Commission to figure out, what was tearing the country apart. And when their report dropped in 1968, it was radically blunt for a federal body. It explicitly called out mainstream white media for failing Black Americans. The system wasn't just ignoring the community, it was actively distorting reality. This wasn't just about hurt feelings. It was a massive structural deficit in how information, debate, and power were actually distributed in American society. Moving on to Section 2, pioneering Black public television, taking control. Tony Brown didn't just sit around waiting for institutions to change. He built his own. He was way more than just a TV commentator. He was a master coordinator. In 1963, he helped organize a massive 500,000-person civil rights march in Detroit with MLK. That is some serious mobilizing power, right? By 68, he channels that power into public television, launching Black Journal. Then, realizing you have to build lasting infrastructure, he becomes the founding dean of Howard University's School of Communication in 1971. And his broadcast run? It kept going all the way to 2008. This is a life totally dedicated to using massive platforms for widespread systemic impact. And here's the thing, Brown demanded total editorial and production control. Through Black Journal, which later became Tony Brown's Journal, he made sure the content was produced for, about, and crucially by Black Americans. As one of the longest-running series in PBS history, he used this structural control to tackle heavy, profound historical events. We're talking topics like the Tuskegee experiments and the Tulsa race riots, things that were practically taboo or just entirely erased from mainstream media back then. By owning the production, Brown essentially forced these truths onto national television. It just proves exactly why independent editorial control is absolutely non-negotiable. Okay, Section 3, Economics as Civil Rights, the Playbook. Let's unpack this central thesis from the Kikuo report. Leverage. It means taking a tool designed mostly for basic broadcasting or entertainment and reforging it into a powerful engine for community empowerment. Brown didn't look at a camera and just see a way to capture a picture. No, he saw a critical lever to move culture, to educate the public, and ultimately to drive real economic self-determination for marginalized communities. It was an absolute game changer. So we can actually distill Brown's grand strategy into this super effective three-step playbook. First up, media. You've got to seize the distribution channels so you can actually set the terms of public debate. Second, education. You focus on building enduring institutions like the journalism school at Howard so the next generation can pick up the baton. And third, the ultimate goal, economics. Brown firmly believed that visibility without financial independence was basically useless. Cultural pride and civil rights, they had to be directly tied to consumer power, business ownership, and financial self-help. Actually, scratch that. They aren't just tied together, they're two sides of the exact same coin. That brings us to Section 4, applying the playbook to AI, the pivot. When you stack the broadcast era up against the AI era, yeah, the underlying tech has completely transformed. We've gone from the mass reach of syndicated TV to this highly targeted world of algorithmic indexing and digital archives. But the core logic? It's literally identical. Whoever controls the knowledge systems controls the narrative. In the 60s, the strongest leverage available was public television. Today, it's AI-assisted research and automated generation. The medium has changed, for sure, but the mission absolutely has not. So the Kukua Institute's strategic pivot here goes way beyond just, slapping a memorial up on a static web page. They're actively building a dynamic AI-driven learning system. Just imagine taking decades of archival material, thousands of interviews, fierce debates, rigorous public affairs reporting, and using AI to responsibly index the whole shebang. The end product is this automated curriculum generator and interactive knowledge base. Today's founders, students, and community builders can query it to solve modern economic problems using historical wisdom. How cool is that? But of course, creating a dynamic legacy like this needs a sustainable business model. This breakdown walks us through the tension you naturally face. You want the info to be as accessible as possible, maybe through a free public report. The big pro there is that it's deeply mission-aligned. The risk, though, is the very real danger of just running out of grant money. On the flip side, things like structured workshop series or student fellowships build practical workforce skills, and they can be backed by schools and libraries. The main takeaway from the KUKA report is that the best path forward emphasizes responsible stewardship and education, firmly rejecting any purely extractive monetization. Finally, let's hit Section 5, Building the Legacy Responsibly, the guardrails. Look, integrating artificial intelligence with deep historical archives demands strategic transparency and rock-solid guardrails. AI is an incredibly powerful tool, right? But we all know it's prone to hallucinating facts or inadvertently flattening out complex historical nuances. And an AI hallucinating a historical date or misattributing a quote, that's not just a technical glitch. It actively erases the precise historical truth that Tony Brown fought so hard to preserve. Because of that, rigorous human fact-checking, strict separation of workflows, and constant alignment with Brown's estate aren't just nice-to-haves. They are absolute, non-negotiable requirements. Also, when we're talking about collecting oral histories and memories from community members and students to feed into these systems, data-hungry AI poses a massive privacy threat. Explicit consent isn't just some legal checkbox here. It's a fundamental moral requirement. By making sure only carefully approved excerpts are published, the project ensures the community's privacy is protected and that the tech serves the people, not the other way around. And then there's the intellectual property side of things. We have to carefully navigate third-party copyrights when dealing with archival clips, iconic images, and historical transcripts. Blindly scraping archives to train AI models, that's a highly extractive practice. Instead, the Kukua report mandates relying on fair use, precise short citations, and actually getting the necessary legal clearances. It honors the legacy of Black creators both legally and ethically, and honestly, it sets a gold standard for how historical digital archives should be managed today. To wrap things up, I want to leave you with this really powerful question to chew on regarding the future of media, tech, and economic empowerment. What is the equivalent of Black Journal in the AI era, and who owns it? Tony Brown looked at the fractured landscape of the 1960s, spotted a massive structural gap, and built a decades-long institution to fill it, using the absolute strongest technological leverage he had. As we step further into this AI era, his playbook is a stark reminder. The tools of creation and distribution are always going to evolve, but the necessity to build, own, and leverage our media infrastructure, that stays exactly the same. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.
Yes, that was really great. Yes, so as you could probably see, Tony Brown had a significant impact on my life because I actually been hosting networking events since I met him in, I think, around 92, 93 time frame. And so, you know, it's because you connect with people, you know, share resources and find out about resources to help you grow. And so that's been one way to, you know, get the help you need to kind of move forward. And that's why we're here every Thursday night to support people on a weekly basis, finding out information to help them keep moving their ventures forward and learning about folks that are out there doing stuff and supporting them. So I really appreciate you all and hanging out here with us all these years. I want to. One of my students yesterday asked me what music I like, and I said I thought about when I was in high school. You know, kind of trying to connect with them. I used to love James Brown, and I was a member of a club, and I had a T-shirt, and the back of that T-shirt it was called Mind Power, and so it's amazing how things sort of impact you. And I still love that song to this day. It's like 11 minutes. It's like a spoken word version. So what I did, because it was all about using your mind, you know, and learning how to think. And you know, getting help to what's going on, and so it was you know, I guess it was really impactful. So I said, well, I wonder what that song would sound like today. So listen up. I'll ahead.
You know, we're living in another turning point, not because the machines woke up, but because people have to wake up. Some folks call it artificial intelligence. Some call it machine learning. Some call it the future. I call it another tool. And every tool depends on the mind that uses it. Now listen. Everybody's talking about the next big model, the next big app, the next big breakthrough. But the biggest breakthrough still happens right here between your ears. A prompt without purpose, is just noise. Knowledge without judgment is just information. Intelligent without wisdom can take you anywhere except where you need to go. Mind power. Build your mind, train your mind, question your mind. That's where tomorrow begins. Mind power. Don't let the tools become your thinking. Make the tools strengthen your thinking. Mind power. In the old days, people asked, can you swing a hammer? Today the question is, can you solve a problem? Can you learn? Can you adapt? Can you see what others don't see? That's the new currency. The future doesn't belong to the fastest computer. It belongs to the clearest thinker. If you stop learning, you stop questioning, you stop discovering. If you let somebody else do all your thinking, you give away the greatest power you were ever given. Mind power. Human vision. Assistance. Evidence. Wisdom. Action. Mind power. Not man or machine, but people. Learning to think. We don't create and lift one another higher. That's real power. You know, we're living in another turning point.
All right.
Not
Thank
because-
you all.
not because
See you next week.
machines
Take
woke
care.
But because people have to wake up. Some folks call it artificial intelligence. Some call it machine learning.